Well, I think the number one thing that anyone using a CFO would want would be to drive the growth of the business, and that would mean better cash flow for the business owners. G'day, Lou from Elgas here again with my fellow partner Natasha.
Hi.
Today we're going to talk about our CFO package. So what's a CFO?
Oh, it's a good question. And a CFO, I think, means different things to everybody. But firstly, a CFO is actually a Chief Financial Officer. So as the title suggests, they are in charge of, they're the chief person in charge of being the finance of a business.
Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So the word actually describes what it is.
It is, but I guess people are probably still going to wonder, what is a CFO?
Yeah, exactly. It's some of that accounting jargon that we just have to put up with, unfortunately.
It is. So what would you say a CFO's main roles and responsibilities are?
Well, I think the number one thing that anyone using a CFO would want would be to drive the growth of the business, and that would mean better cash flow for the business owners, and also that would lead on to increasing the exit value of the business for its potential sale.
Awesome. What would you say would be, so the main thing the CFO is responsible for is the growth and strategic plan of the business. So how can an accounting firm like Elgas help with a client's CFO needs?
Well, there's a whole lot of things we could do. So we all know business is pretty tricky and pretty complicated and has all sorts of different facets to it. So what we would initially do is scope out the business and what its strengths are and what its weaknesses are. They'll be both financial and non-financial, and also its exit readiness, which is, the cash at the end of the game is very important. So we scope that out, and then we develop a plan around what things we would work on. And then once we've developed the plan, what we do is we identify the weaknesses in the business that our energy and resources can be allocated to create the most value for the business. So if there's a particular area that's going to provide an immediate cash flow boost, we do that first. So that might be working on a debtors program that's not working very efficiently. Or it could be anything in the business that's going to provide maximised cash return.
Awesome. And how do you make sure that the CFO service that we offer actually works for the business?
That's in the scoping. So once we identify the weaknesses in the business, we would obviously focus on those. And how do we actually know that it's working? I think that's the question.
That is what I'm trying to ask.
What we do is we develop a reporting system that tells us how the business is going. They'd be our lag indicators. So typically a dashboard would be developed that might tell us how sales are going compared to budget, or how work in progress is performing, how the productivity per hour is looking historically. And then we'd look at some lead indicators. So depending on the business, you might have number of sales calls, or you might have number of leads coming into the business. So we look at those sorts of things as well in a complete month-end package, which would then tell us what we've fixed and what we've got to work on.
Awesome. And what do you think makes us qualified to help a fellow business owner with their business?
Well, I suppose most accounting practices could say that we're in business, so we're qualified because we're in it, in the game. I like to think that our accounting practice is very well organised. We do have dashboard reporting systems. We have a very clear month-end reporting system which tells us exactly how we're going. We also have very, very transparent reporting around future work coming into the practice. We monitor our jobs very closely. So we're really onto it from that point of view. And I think if we apply those same ways of thinking or ideologies across any business, then we can transpose those skills into helping our clients.
Yeah.
And the proof's in the pudding. We've worked with quite a few clients around improving profitability and exit value, and we've achieved some fantastic results.
So Lou, what makes a good CFO?
Well, someone who's got loads of experience. So at LG Accounting Solutions, I've had about 30 years experience working as an accountant and about 20 years running this business. I started it from scratch. Natasha, I think you've been here about 10 years.
12 actually.
12? Holy hell,
Time is flowing.
Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? So experience counts for a lot, but also the client relationship you have. So building very strong open communication style relationships with your business clients, nothing really beats that either.
Yep.
Tash, why are relationships important in this CFO model?
It is actually one of the most important relationships you have. You need to be a trusted person, advisor, whatever you would like to say, to be that CFO. So you need to have very strong relationships, good communication, and be able to trust each other in this role. Because if you don't, you're not able to get the results that your business needs and you won't be able to achieve your goals.
Tash, what sort of tools do we use at LGAS to assist businesses in their growth path?
That's a really good question. So the tools vary depending on what the goals are of the client. So the main tools that we use is obviously we do a big scoping program at the start of each project to make sure that we're hitting the goals and targets that the business owner would like, or having that tough conversation to make sure that we are actually heading where we think the business needs to head if we're not quite aligned. So when we do start the project, everything is all aligned. And from there, we would generally tackle the budgeting and forecasting cycle first. So looking at where we can get some good cash flow hits to boost a business's cash flow, getting their budgeting up to scratch. And then from there, we look at the reporting. So looking at both KPIs, non-financial, financial reporting, looking at lagging, leading indicators, and a number of other things. And from there, looking at developing dashboards and the way that that end of month reporting package is delivered to the stakeholders of the business.
Fantastic.